Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into Tai Chi, specifically how practice changes, as we get older.
Right. We're looking at some interesting points from a YouTube discussion. It featured Damon Bramich talking about Cheng Man Ching's Tai Chi.
Exactly. And these ideas of large, medium, and small frame movements. So the mission today is basically to figure out why our exercise might need to adapt over time.
And how Tai Chi kind of provides a model for that. We want to give you some, useful takeaways and maybe a few surprises.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Where should we start? Maybe with how activity changes generally with age.
Yeah, that's a good starting point. The source mentioned something pretty relatable, I think. How younger people, say in their 20s or 30s, might go for really intense, maybe even slightly crazy exercise.
Been there.
Right, but then often by the 40s, people tend to moderate a bit, look for something more sustainable.
Makes sense. But the really key thing, it seems, is the long-term benefit.
Absolutely. What you do in your 50s, consistency-wise, really sets you up for your 60s and 70s. It's about building that foundation for, better balanced strength.
Preventing falls, staying independent longer. It's not just about the now, it's an investment.
Precisely. Which leads us nicely into those Tai Chi frame sizes, large, medium, small.
Yeah, tell us about that. The source framed it as being adaptable.
Exactly. It's adaptable to the student's leverage, their physical capacity at the time. It's almost like a natural path. You might start big, expansive, that's the large frame.
Okay, like learning the full range of motion first.
Kind of, yeah. And then maybe you move towards a medium frame, a bit more contained. And then there's the small frame.
Right, the small frame. What's the application there? The discussion mentioned older individuals.
Yes, definitely. It's talked about for fall prevention. And it's often considered really suitable for, say, beginners in their 70s or 80s.
Because big, low stances might be too much.
Potentially, yeah. The focus there might shift more towards just opening the joints gently, finding fluidity, working on balance, rather than deep stances.
So it really highlights Tai Chi's core strength, meeting you where you are.
That's perhaps its most important feature, its adaptability.
Okay, so let's bring in Cheng Man Ching. Influential figure. The discussion noted his practice changed too.
It did. Apparently, when he was younger, his movements were, quite large, expansive.
But later on, when he was teaching in the US, like in the 70s,
His practice seemed to shift towards smaller, more compact movements, very refined.
interesting. So if someone's, say, 45 and still loving intense workouts, is there a reason they should explore large frame Tai Chi specifically, or just listen to their body?
That's a good question. I mean, there's no hard rule, but the large frame can help build that sort of foundational understanding. Body mechanics, energy flow, like building a broad base.
Okay.
As the frame gets smaller, the emphasis might subtly shift, perhaps more towards internal work, tendon strength, less reliant on big skeletal movements.
Right. That makes sense. There was also this mention about needing to open up. A specific example.
Yeah, the source referenced a teacher, possibly named Siu, might have been commenting on someone practicing Wo-style Tai Chi.
Which is another branch of Tai Chi, yeah.
Right. And the comment was something like, the style was good, but the younger person needed to open up more, make the movements bigger.
So that touches on a potential challenge, doesn't it?
It does. The idea that maybe just copying the small, refined movements of an older master like Cheng Man Ching in his later years.
Might not be the whole story for a younger learner. They might miss something fundamental.
Potentially, yes. They might need that large frame experience first to really get it. Though, of course, there's huge value in observing that refined efficiency, too.
Absolutely. It's like you need to understand both ends of the spectrum, perhaps.
Yeah.
The expansion and the contraction.
Well put.
Okay, so let's try and recap this deep dive. We've seen exercise probably needs adapting as we age. No big surprise there, maybe.
But Tai Chi offers a really concrete example of how, with these different frame sizes, large, medium, small, adapting to capacity.
And crucially, that a master's later stage practice, however refined, isn't necessarily the starting block for everyone learning the art.
Exactly. It's a journey, not just a destination to imitate immediately.
So that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe kick around.
Yeah, think about this principle, adapting your approach based on your life stage, your current capacity. How might that apply elsewhere, beyond exercise?
In learning other skills or developing different areas of your life, what large frame ideas might you need to explore fully before maybe focusing on more compact applications later on?
Something to ponder.